Hello students, today our topic is adjoint of a matrix. So we will understand this concept with the help of one example. So we are taking one matrix of order 2. Now the first step which is there in adjoint of a matrix is we have to calculate the cofactor of all the elements. So as we already know how to calculate cofactor, so cofactor of first element which is 2, ignoring first row, ignoring first column, we will get 4. Now cofactor of second element, 1 plus 2 is odd, therefore we will have a minus sign here. So 1, which means ignoring first row, and 2 means ignoring second column, we will have 1. So cofactor of A12 is capital A12 is minus 1. And similarly cofactor of A21. So 2 means ignoring second row and first column, we will have 3. Once again a negative sign because 2 plus 1 is odd. And then cofactor of this element. So this is A22. So ignoring second row, ignoring second column, we will have 2. Now this is the first step of adjoint, that we have to calculate cofactor of all the elements. Now adjoint of any matrix A. So here this notation is very important. Adjoint is represented as small a, d, j and name of your matrix. So adjoint A is nothing but you will replace all the elements with their respective cofactors, and whatever matrix you will get, you will take transpose of that matrix. So this is basically nothing but sign of transpose. So A11 which is 4, A12 which is minus 1, A21 which is minus 3 and A22 which is 2. So we have replaced all the elements with their respective cofactors, and now we will take the transpose. So first row will become first column now, and second row will become second column now. And now this is nothing but adjoint of our matrix A. So what we need to remember is adjoint, it has two steps in it. First one, find cofactors of all the elements and then replace elements with their respective cofactors and then take the transpose of that matrix. So now this matrix which we are getting here after these two steps is nothing but the adjoint of our matrix A. Now class, we have a shortcut, or we can say we have a trick for finding out adjoint of a matrix of order 2 by 2. So here I have taken a general matrix, that is A11, A12, A21 and A22. So that shortcut is that we can straight away find the adjoint, and the steps are interchange diagonal elements, means A11 will come here and A22 will come here like this. Interchange diagonal elements and change sign of non-diagonal elements. Here we have also written is interchange A11 and A22 which are nothing but diagonal elements, and change sign of non-diagonal elements, means for example, let's see this example again, 2, 3, 1, 4. So instead of going for these two steps, if we straight away apply this shortcut, then according to this 2 and 4 should be interchanged, and this is our final answer. Yes, we have interchanged diagonal elements, and as far as non-diagonal elements are concerned, the signs of non-diagonal elements are changed. So this is a shortcut method, but this shortcut method can be applied only to a matrix of order 2 by 2. We can't apply this shortcut method to a matrix of order 3. Now let's see one more example. Now we have taken matrix A where order of matrix A is 3 this time, and the question is same, find adjoint of A. Now here all the cofactors are written, so we can only check 1 or 2, and rest of you can solve and you can match your answers. Like see, first one is we have to calculate cofactor of first element. So for A11, ignoring first row and first column, we will left with this 4, 3, 3, 4, this determinant. So 4 into 4 will give us 16, minus 3 into 3 will give us 9, and 16 minus 9 will give us 7. Now let's check one more, A13, so ignoring first row and third column. We will left with 1, 4, 1, 3. So 3 into 1 will give us 3 minus 1 into 4. So 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So similarly, you can check other cofactors also. So our first step, that is adjoint of A, is nothing but, first step is we have to replace all the elements with their respective cofactors. So cofactors are written in place of A11, it's 7, A12 is minus 1, A13 is minus 1, A21 is minus 3, A22 is 1, A23 is 0, A31 minus 3, here the cofactor is 0 and here it is 1. But this is not adjoint. We will also take transpose, because adjoint of A is nothing but transpose of the matrix of cofactors. So let's take the transpose. Your first row will become your first column, second row will become your second column, and third row will become your third column. And this is nothing but adjoint of our matrix A. Adjoint is nothing but transpose of the matrix of cofactors, and then when you will take the transpose, you will get the adjoint. Now class, we have some very important theorems related to this topic. Our theorem number 1 states that if A be any given matrix of order n, then A into adjoint A is equals to adjoint A into A is equals to determinant of A into I, where I is basically identity matrix. So this result basically says that if you multiply a matrix A with its adjoint, then this product will be commutative, and further it will be equals to determinant of A into identity matrix, where order of this identity matrix will be same as the order of A. Here we have taken A, a matrix of order n, so I will also be an identity matrix of order n only. Let's see this result. Proof is also very important. So we are taking one matrix here of order 3, and this is our general matrix of order 3. Now let's see what will be adjoint A. As we know that adjoint of any matrix is nothing but the transpose of the matrix of the cofactors. So this is our cofactor of first row, so we have written them in first column. Now these are the cofactors of second row, so we have written them in second column, and these are the cofactors of third row, but we have written them in third column. So if A is this matrix, its adjoint will be this. Now according to our result, we have to multiply A with its adjoint. So let's take the product here. This is our A and this is adjoint A. So we will apply the concept of multiplication of two matrices here. See, first element, we'll get first element when we will apply elements of first row with the corresponding elements of first column. So we have also written it here, first element into first element, then plus second element here multiplied with the second element here, and plus third element here multiplied with the third element here. Now similarly class, you can calculate the second element also. For that, what we will do, we will take, that is, this is our element, we will get this element by multiplying first row with second column. Similarly, this element you will get by multiplying first row with third column. Now the result which is very important here is that, as we know, when element of any row or any column is multiplied with their cofactors, then we get nothing but the determinant of A. So here, as you can see, for this first element, we are multiplying elements of first row with the cofactors of first row only. So anyhow, this will give us nothing but determinant of A here. But here you can see that elements of first row are multiplied with the cofactors of second row. So ultimately this will give us 0. And here the same thing will be here also when you will calculate this element. So for this element you will multiply elements of first row here with these cofactors, and these are nothing but the cofactors of third row. So elements of first row multiplied with the cofactors of third row will give you 0. So this way only diagonal elements will become determinant of A and all other non-diagonal elements will become 0. So if you have diagonal elements, as determinant of A, determinant of A and determinant of A, and rest all are 0, then you can take out determinant of A common, and you will be left with an identity matrix which is 1 0 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 1, and which is nothing but determinant of A into I. The way we have checked A with A and its multiplication with adjoint A, similarly you can also check when we apply adjoint of A with A, then also you will get the same result. So let's combine these two now. So combining this one with the previous one, you will get the complete result, that is A into adjoint of A is nothing but adjoint of A into A, which is nothing but determinant of A into I. This is a very important result. You have to recall this result and you should also be familiar with the proof. Now class, from exercise 4.5, 2 questions are there and you people will try these questions. First is very simple question, find adjoint of this matrix. You have already seen one example of this type. And second is also same, find adjoint of this matrix, but further you also have to verify the above result. The result which we have just proved, you have to verify this result here in this question. Our next definition is singular matrix. A square matrix A is said to be singular matrix if determinant of A is 0. So this is a very important definition, that a singular matrix, a square matrix A is said to be singular if its determinant is equals to 0. And a non-singular matrix is 1, or you can say a square matrix A is said to be non-singular if determinant of A is non-zero. So this is very important, that if it is a non-singular matrix, then its determinant will be non-zero. Now we have one very important result based on this. If A and B are non-singular matrices of the same order, then AB and BA are also non-singular matrices of the same order, and we can use this result to solve any type of questions, mainly 1 markers. So again, see the result. If A and B are non-singular matrices, which means if determinant of A is non-zero, determinant of B is also non-zero, then A into B, whatever matrix will be there, whatever you will get after doing the multiplication of A with B and B with A, that matrix will also be a non-singular matrix. Our next result is determinant of A into B is same as determinant of A into determinant of B, where A and B are square matrices of the same order. Now see another example. Let A be a matrix of order 3. So first we will calculate the adjoint of this matrix. So for that we will calculate the cofactors of all the elements. So cofactors of all the elements are written here. So adjoint of A will be, let's substitute or let's replace all the elements with the respective cofactors. So we have replaced it. A11, A21, A31, these are the cofactors. Then here are the cofactors of our second column, and these are the cofactors of our third column. And now we have to take its transpose. So this is nothing but adjoint of this matrix A. Now let's calculate determinant of adjoint A. Adjoint A is a matrix, so we are expanding it along R1. So calculations are little lengthy, but all the part and every calculation part is here only, so we can easily check it. When we will expand it along R1, we will get 8 or we'll get 784. Now we will calculate a determinant of A. So determinant of A, once again we are expanding our matrix A along R1, so determinant of A will be minus 28. Now let's see which result we'll try to verify here. See, we'll calculate determinant of A raised to the power n minus 1. This n here stands for order of A. So order of A was 3, so we have replaced n with 3, so determinant of A raised to the power 3 minus 1. So value of determinant of A is minus 28. We have replaced the value minus 28 raised to the power 3 minus 1, so which is minus 28 square. So you will get 784, and we will see that determinant of adjoint of A is nothing but 784 only. So in general, what we have seen is that determinant of adjoint A is nothing but determinant of A raised to the power n minus 1. This is also a very important result. So the result is that determinant of adjoint A is nothing but determinant of A raised to the power n minus 1, where n is the order of A, and we have also verified this result here. Now let's see the general proof also. So in general, if A is a non-singular matrix of order n, then determinant of adjoint A is nothing but determinant of A raised to the power n minus 1. So we'll start with our result only. We already know that adjoint A when multiplied with A gives us determinant of A into I. So when I'm saying determinant of A into I means that we are multiplying determinant of A with our identity matrix. So here we have taken A, or we have taken identity matrix of order 3. So when we will multiply determinant of A with an identity matrix, so diagonal elements will become determinant of A and non-diagonal elements will be 0. Now on both the sides we will take determinant, because adjoint A into A both are matrices, so their product will also be a matrix, so we can calculate its determinant. So taking determinants on both the sides, here you will get determinant of adjoint A into A here equals 2. This is a matrix of order 3, so its determinant will be determinant of the same matrix. Now we also know this result, that if two matrices are of same order, then, or if two square matrices are of same order, then determinant of their product is nothing but the product of their determinant. So this will be determinant of adjoint A into determinant of A, and we can take out this determinant A common from, or this value common from this determinant. So it is present in R1 one time, it's present in R2 as well as in R3, so it will come out, so it will become determinant of A raised to the power 3, and inside we will have identity. So determinant of any identity matrix is 1 only, and this side determinant of A raised to the power 3, and this side adjoint A into determinant of A. Determinant of A is always a number, so this is, will divide both the sides with determinant of A. So dividing both the sides with determinant of A, this side will become adjoint, determinant of adjoint A equals to determinant of A raised to the power 2. So in general, order, initially we took order of A as 3, so this 2 can also be written as determinant of A raised to the power 3 minus 1. So in general we can write it as that determinant of adjoint A is equals to determinant of A raised to the power n minus 1. So this is the proof of the result, and we have also verified this result with the help of one example. Our next theorem is, a square matrix A is invertible if and only if A is non-singular. So let's see the first part. Let A be invertible matrix of order n. So now we are assuming that A is invertible, and we will prove that A will be non-singular. See, if we know that A is invertible matrix, so by its definition we know that there will exist a square matrix B such that AB equals to BA will always be equals to identity. This is basically from the definition of inverse. Now as we are saying that product of AB is identity, so product of AB is identity, let's take determinant on both the sides. So this side we will get determinant of AB equals to determinant of identity matrix. Determinant of identity matrix is 1, and here we are applying our result, that is determinant of product of two square matrices of same order is nothing but the product of their determinant. So determinant of A into determinant of B will be equals to 1. Now determinant of A and determinant of B are two real numbers, and the product of two real numbers is the 1. So if product of two real numbers is 1, it means that none of them can be 0. So this implies that determinant of A will also be a non-zero number and determinant of B will also be a non-zero number. So from this condition, it is there that determinant of A is non-zero, and if determinant of A is non-zero, then this is nothing but the condition for a non-singular matrix. So hence A is a non-singular matrix. Now let's see the converse part. Let A be a non-singular matrix. If A is a non-singular matrix, then determinant of A will be non-zero. Now we already know that A multiplied with adjoint of A is same as adjoint of A into A is equals to determinant of A into I. So we'll use this result here. See, we'll divide throughout by determinant of A. So here we will get A into adjoint A upon determinant of A equals to adjoint A upon determinant of A into A equals to determinant of A upon determinant of A into I. So these two will get cancelled, and here as you can see both these are same expressions, so we are giving it a new name, that is capital B. And more or less why capital B? Because adjoint A is a matrix, and any matrix when multiplied with a scalar will remain a matrix only. So anyhow we are going to get a matrix here. So this will give us AB equals to BA equals to I, and this is nothing but the condition for existence of inverse. If for a matrix A we are able to find a matrix B such that A into B is equals to B into A equals to I, then B is nothing but the inverse of that matrix. So this implies that A is invertible. Now by using adjoint, A inverse is, this is also another method for finding inverse of A, that is A inverse is given by adjoint A upon determinant of A. We have already learned the method of finding out the inverse of a matrix by using elementary operations, and this is our another method now, that A inverse is nothing but adjoint of A upon determinant of A. But the important thing here is that in order to apply this method, we always need to check that determinant of A should always be non-zero, which means that always check A is a non-singular. If in case A is a singular matrix, then A inverse does not exist. So whenever you are going for this method, the very first step is that always check that A is a non-singular matrix. In case your A comes out to be a singular matrix, then you will simply write that A inverse does not exist. Now class, revise all these results. In our next class, we will discuss the questions based on this. Thank you.